So what Ryan and Sam did is they used a period and ended their sentence. But if you think a semicolon as the sentence as your life and you're the author, instead of ending your life, ending that sentence is to keep it going and using a semicolon. So this has kind of been a symbol for people that are struggling, whether it's with suicidal thoughts, cutting, anorexia, you mentioned that earlier, I think I've talked about that. It seems so outrageous that someone who's anorexic can't see in the mirror that they are skinny. But just like with depression, their mind plays tricks on you. Your mind lies to you. And that's the same way with depression. I've got a pamphlet I want to pass out to you.
So kind of like what we talked about before about eating disorders, right? How those people may not realize, anorexics may not realize they're sick and they don't want help. And a bulimic will realize they're sick and say they want help, but they'll fall in and out of rehab several times. Well, those are actually diseases, just like any mental health disease.
Now I'm also passing back two other things. One is a magnet. All of you got a locker, you can put this in your locker. You may not need it, maybe things are good with you, you've got a grip on everything. Oh, here's some of these. But you don't know when you might need it for a friend one day, or for you one day. The little the wallet card, you can put in your wallet, and it's got kind of a condensed version of all the resources I'm going to tell you about. How many of you know what to do if you have a friend that talks to you about wanting to take their life? Do you feel like you could help them? Would you tell somebody? Or would you keep it a secret? A lot of times you feel like out of loyalty you shouldn't say anything, or maybe you don't know if they're really serious. But it's always important that if you are worried about somebody or if they've said something to you, even though you don't want to betray their trust, you're helping them. It would be much better to have a friend who's mad at you the rest of their life, but be alive, than to have a friend that takes their life. Well, what if someone said something to you and they did take their life and you didn't tell anybody? Does that make it your fault? It doesn't. Because even if you had said something, there's no guarantee that it would have made a difference. But you're going to be like I am. You don't want that guilt. So it's better to do everything you can, tell somebody to get them help, and try to make a difference. One of the things we did after Ryan died is took his fingerprint at the funeral home, and we made necklaces for some of his friends, and all of our family have one that we wear. You don't want this to be the only thing your family has left of you. Or you don't want it to be the only thing you have left of one of your friends. To treasure just a little trinket because you don't have your loved one or your friend. So it's so important that you educate yourself on the warning signs of suicide, depression, so that you can recognize it in yourself too, or in a friend, because there are ways to get through it. A phrase I came across recently about suicide is not chosen. It happens when pain exceeds the resources for coping with pain. So a lot of times it happens in a moment, just like Brian was saying, people just grieve for a moment. But when you're in a dark situation and you're struggling and you're thinking about taking your life, when you do it, it's done. That moment is over. You can't go back and choose it unless you weren't successful in that attempt. So, how many of you think that suicide is preventable? Did I already ask that? That is something we can prevent. And one thing I wish I had done more of before Ryan died was educate myself. Like I said, I had grown up with depression, so I felt like I, could handle what was going on. But I had never looked up. I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't know warning signs. I didn't know things that were better to say or worse to say. I wish I had taken that time to learn it when I had a chance. But we only had about a week from when Ryan started actually openly talking about that he wanted to take his life. We had a cousin just 2 weeks ago that their son took his life. And he had been struggling with this since Ryan died, because he would tell him, I know how Ryan felt. And she did all those things that I had posted that I wish I had done or wish I had said, or, you know, wish I had not gone to work that day, or, you know, but you can't stay with someone 24/7. They have to want to make a difference. They have to want to take that first step to seek help. And that's what I've given you in this. On the back of it, if you want to look at that, everyone take out your phone. I know Mr. Patrick's not going to
It's
take that.
okay, take your phone.
It's not a trick, I promise. I want you to enter a contact in your phone. It's this top number, 741-741. It's on the back of my sweatshirt too. And this is a crisis text line. Put it in your contacts and put it under help, so that if you ever, you know, if you don't remember anything else I say, just know that there are places out there, people out there that are waiting to help you through a tough time. Now, the crisis text line, it's available 24/7. Any time of day, any time of night, you can text that number. You can just text go and someone will respond. It may take them just a couple minutes, but they'll text with you as long as you need someone to text with you. How many of you talk on the phone? Only a few. Most of you like to just text, right? But if you like to talk, there is a 1-800 number. 1-800, it's, or just 800-723-TALK. That's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. And they also have a website that I've given you where it says chat. If you're on the computer a lot, you can just go right over to their website and there's a chat where you can do that also. And under that, I've also listed some apps. How many of you have apps on your phone? Probably full. If you have some space, download one that's called A Friend Asks, and I have it written down here. It's a great one because it lists different warning signs for suicide, depression, things you can say to your friend or not to say, or if it's for you, if you're struggling. You can go on there and it gives you some ideas of things to do. And there's another one also on there. And all these things are there to help you guys. This has been a problem that's been going on for centuries. And it's nothing new, but it's something that can be prevented, and it's something that people are out there to help. How many of you, now Mason was supposed to come with me today. Mason was Ryan's best friend and Sam's cousin. They were the Three Musketeers pretty much. And Sam has gone through this now twice. He's lost Mason, he lost Ryan, and he's had 2 other friends that have attempted since then. So he has a lot of things he wanted to talk about, but he couldn't get off work today. And 2, this is probably even though he wants to talk, I think it's a hard thing to do, especially being almost a year since we lost Ryan. So one thing you can do is on these hashtags and on that website that I list here, check those out sometimes, because there's other people like Mason who have gone through either losing friends or gone through attempting themselves, and they've gotten to the other side. And that's one thing, if you can hold on just one more day, if you can hold on, even though the pain is greater than you can imagine, you don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring unless you give it a chance. And that's what these resources are here for you. That you can text somebody and they're gonna help you. How many of you have ever, and it's not just for suicidal thoughts, how many of you have had a situation where something's going on and you have no clue what to do? You don't know which way to turn, you don't know what you should do in that situation. Have you ever been in that kind of situation? It could be something simple, it could be something really scary, but you can even text for that. They're there to help teenagers through crisis situations, because you're gonna face a situation at some point that you really don't know what to do. And it may not be as serious as suicide, but it's important to you and it's serious to you. So that's a crisis line for anything, any crisis, anytime. But I wanted to put this in your hands so that you can take it, you can keep it, you can use it for yourself, you can use it to help a friend. But one thing I'd love for you to do is do a little bit of research on it, learn more about it, watch some of these videos on the website. And if any of you have seriously thought about suicide yourself, under websites to check out, that very first one is a must. It's got some really good information. But just know that even though some teenagers do choose to take their life, and adults, not just teenagers, that's not the best option. There are better options. It's a lot easier to, not easier necessarily, but it's better to reach out and seek some help from a friend. Even at school, you've got teachers that care, even though you think they're hard sometimes, or they, you know, subs just want you to be quiet and sit down and do your work. I don't know why they want you to do your work. But, your teachers care about you a lot, and they're there to help you. There are teachers in this school that have had brothers or sisters who have taken their life. I'm always here to talk to you or help you through a time. I've got more information like this you can take. There's books. There's tons of research out there to help you through a hard time. So just know